Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I'm your host, the Dean, and look, got a little chilly down here in South Louisiana, and I know you guys are saying, hey, if you're watching up north, that you're chilly and my chilly, and I understand it. I get it. I've been down here for about 20 years. I was raised in Southern Maryland, so I know what snow looks like, unlike some people down here. But, 50 degrees is 50 degrees. So, got the hoodie on today. Now, look, some of you out there, your team's as cold as the weather here right now. It's okay. You're 0-3, like me. Maybe you're 1-2. Maybe you took a couple of bad beats. We're going to look at a bad beat that happened last week, and we're going to hand out the head of the class and the dunce of the week here on Fantasy Football Academy 2020. Before I do go any further, I would like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, Keller's Bakery, in Youngsville, or in Lafayette, off the Youngsville Highway, 627 Lafayette Street. Look, check them out on Facebook. Their products are phenomenal. The bakery stuff is off the chain. It's delicious. It is absolutely mouth-watering. If you haven't gotten down there to get some of your in Lafayette area, please go down and tell them that the Dean sent you. Pick up your 2 free cookies by saying that, and pick up a dozen donuts for the fam. Okay? So here's the breaking news. This came out yesterday. Tennessee shut down its facilities after their first COVID outbreak. So they had a couple of players and some personnel test positive. So this is our first big in-season test of what's going to happen for fantasy football and reality football. According to the NFL, they will play the game. Basically, as long as they can roster a team, you will play. So they're playing Pittsburgh this week. So if you have guys like, if you got Derrick Henry, if you got Deontay Johnson, if you got Juju, you got Big Ben, you need to keep an eye on this. You need any Tennessee player, any Pittsburgh Steeler that you have on your roster, you need to keep an eye on this news and see what's going on. So, just follow this. If you don't follow me on Twitter, go find me at FantasyDean20. Click down bottom, subscribe, like, and share for me, and we will be, if any news comes of this, I will be retweeting on my Twitter account and letting you guys know what's going on. So trying to keep you guys updated. Here's the thing. If you are in pretty much any other league except this one, or ones like this, where we don't have a waiver wire wait, say that 5 times fast, where you put in your waiver, you immediately get the claim. You don't have to wait for it. It's a first come, first serve type thing. Our waiver wires picks go live Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Central. So if you guys don't have that, then 9 times out of 10, you had to wait for your waiver to be processed. That means that there's a waiver order. Somebody could have put in the same claim that you did, or at least for the same player, before you, so you miss out on that, and you have to wait until your claims are processed to find out what's your next step. Now, here's the thing. It's week 4, or at least going into week 4. So 3 weeks in, here's how things usually work. The first 2 weeks, there's a wild, mad dash to the waiver wire because a guy you drafted turns out to not be the guy that you thought he was. He's not being used in the way that you thought he was going to be used, or he got hurt. So we've had a lot of injuries first 3 weeks of the season. Guys are suffering because of that. So what do? You go to the waiver wire, you pick up the flavor of the week. Here's the problem. just like guys who are in your starting lineup, guys who you don't even think about dropping. I'm going to use a tight end, for example. We're going to use Darren Waller from the Vegas Raiders. And yes, it still sounds weird to say that. He had an absolutely rock star performance in week 2. In week 3, dud. Okay. So if you thought that you were chasing that, if you're out there chasing that performance from week 2 that he had, where he just went crazy on Tuesday, or on Tuesday, on week 2, then you were disappointed. Now, that same feeling that you have for a player like that, you have for those fringe guys who you drafted late, you're taking a shot on. Now you're like, man, I'm done. I'm going to the waiver wire. Here's the thing. The waiver wire's picked clean right now. With as many injuries as we've had, as many disappointing performances that we've had, the waiver wire is kind of bare bone right now. So what time is it? It's trade time. So here's the thing. You want to go out and you want to look at maybe who's coming back from injury. Okay, and I'm gonna give you an example. You got Deebo Samuel, who is coming back from injury. Okay, if you have Brandon Ayuk is start of the week for me. Okay, but it's just this week. This is not a guy that you go out and try to trade for. Okay, because Deebo Samuel is coming back. So once Deebo gets back, Ayuk falls off. Now, here's the other thing. This past week, Justin Jefferson had an absolutely phenomenal breakout performance, 175 yards and a touchdown. This is what we were expecting, or at least I was expecting from Justin Jefferson. It's this level of performance. Maybe not 175 every week, but definitely a triple-digit yardage. He led if I'm not mistaken, he led the team with targets and scoring a touchdown. So that part I expect. Here's the thing. Adam Thielen is still your number 1. If you don't have Jefferson, if you don't have Thielen, but you have a running back who's healthy that you can spare, go to the player who has Adam Thielen and be like, hey, I got this running back for you. 9 times out of 10, he's going to jump on a trade. You can low ball and not give up that much and get a number one wide receiver for that team. So you get Adam Thielen. Justin Jefferson is good news for Adam Thielen. He's going to take away some of the pressure, and he's going to be able to – Adam Thielen's going to be able to give you a good, solid performance week in and week out, because you know that he's durable, number 1. Number 2, that he's going to get the touches, that he's going to get the yardage, and the production will be there. Okay? So today's show, we're going to break down week 3, a couple of week 3 performances from my league of record here with Fantasy Football Academy. So let's show you guys here. Now, this is my matchup for week 4. Okay, let me switch over to week 3. And you see I took a loss to my nemesis, the Slutty Mutts. I lost by almost 40 points. And let's go down here and we'll show you exactly what happened. Let's hide the chart. And let's go to the box score. So the Monday night performance by Lamar was not exactly what I had envisioned. He lost the ball. He had a fumble, number 1. Didn't have over 100 yards in passing, which actually it hurts. He did have the one passing touchdown, which helped out, but he missed on about a 48-yard pass attempt to Mark Andrews. So that kind of hurt me. MVS just got scripted out. They started going to Lazard. I was playing roulette, Russian roulette. Basically, it's a wheel of wide receivers there in Green Bay with no Devontae Adams. So Kelsey, an average night, kind of low scoring for him. No touchdown production, even though Mahomes was handing out touchdowns like it was Halloween candy. You see Murray up there, 270 and 2 passing touchdowns. Did have the 3 interceptions. And Kamara just blew me out of the water Sunday night. Tyler Boyd stepped up for Charles. We had Jonnu Smith. He had an okay performance as a tight end. Nothing what Charles was expecting. I will tell you that right now. The Colts defense, look, they were playing the Jets. So, like I've said time and time again, anybody who plays the Jets, please start them. You can look at the Niners. The Niners rolled out are rolling out Nick Mullins, and Mullins could beat this team. Denver's going to roll out who's it? Brett Ripken or Brett Rippin as their number 3 quarterback, and they can still probably beat Adam Gase and the Jets coming up here on Thursday night's game. So we see 128, 163. My boy Pez, who follows me here on YouTube. Hey, Pez, thank you, my man. I appreciate the support. He had a bad beat this week, and we're going to look at a bad beat that was taken this week. Mr. Luke with the Alpha Chads Incorporated got his first win, so congratulations on that. Danny's RBU got a win. The Cajun Pudos stayed in number 1 with a 156 to 128 victory. And here's the thing that I want you guys to remember is that we're only on week 4. If you're sitting at 0-3, you're sitting at 1-2 like I am, you can still win. It's not over. It's okay. There's still a lot of fantasy football to be played, okay? There are going to be some guys who just, hey, I can't win. My team's not doing well, this, that, the other. Look, the bye weeks are coming up. The bye weeks are horrible because you're going to face those guys that just have absolutely monster teams, and you can get a win against them because they're going to be missing their top guys. So when you're missing those top guys, it's okay. My boy Pez took a 150 to 148 loss. Josh Jacobs underperformed, so all Jacobs had to do was maybe get another 20 yards, maybe a couple more receptions. He would have been fine. A couple other guys had performed, but he did take my advice and did go out and get James Robinson. So good job. So we're gonna move him to the head of the class. So Pez, welcome to the front row. Appreciate you. And keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming. If you're on Twitter, come follow me at FantasyDean20. If you're not on Twitter, look, go get on it. Make yourself an account, follow multiple people, not just myself, because my opinion is going to differ from others. And like I've always said here, you got to trust your gut. Okay, you got to do what's best for you. This is your team, not my team. I'm just here to give suggestions and maybe shine light somewhere where you didn't think about, okay? So that said, let's take a look at returning champ. This is the worst beat of the week. 159, high score. Just had an absolute monster week. Did the returning champ, who just so happens to be my wife, and that was without Patty Mahomes in her starting lineup. Now, some of you might be going, what do you mean Pat Mahomes was in her starting lineup? Look, she took a flyer. She put in Matt Ryan. It was against Baltimore's defense for Patrick Mahomes. I don't want his mom to come after me on Twitter. Anybody who watched the Monday night game, it was hilarious that Patrick Mahomes' mom came after the announcers on Twitter for calling her son Pat. It's Patrick. So Patrick Mahomes was on her bench. Matt Ryan, who has just been playing lights out, did not do that well. He got 13.42 points, as you see, which still beat Cam Newton by a fraction of a point. So that was kind of funny there. Dalvin Cook finally was Dalvin Cook. Eckler was actually awesome excellence in this one. And this is something I want you guys to look at. If you look at Eckler, I'm going to pull him up here real quick, because this is the difference that the right quarterback can make for you. Okay? If this will pull up. Didn't want to pull up now. But anyway, let me see if I can get it on another thing here. But yeah, so you guys remember to start the year, they had Tyrod Taylor. Well, Tyrod gets his lung punctured by the team doctor when they're trying to go in and shoot him with a pain injection so that he can withstand the pain in his ribs. And needle slips, punctures his lung, and they gave him like a pinhole. It wasn't like, they went in and his lung just went. Here we go. So you guys always have a backup. You guys think that my backup plan only applies to your lineup? No, it applies to the show as well. So here's the thing. Week 1, he gets 9.7 points. He has 19 attempts. Okay. 84 rushing yards and no rushing touchdowns. He gets 1 target for 1 reception for 3 yards. Okay. Now, in comes Justin Herbert. Okay. Justin Herbert comes in week 2. Eckler goes from 9.7 on 19 attempts to 16 attempts, 93 yards. But here's the kicker, is that he goes from 1 reception to 4, pardon me, and 55 yards. And then he goes to 11 receptions with 84 yards, and his rushing goes from 16 to 12, but gets the touchdown. So even though his role as a running back is being reduced, like his touches are being reduced, that is the formula that he had last year with Melvin Gordon. So this year, he's going back with Justin Herbert. He's going back to a more of a pass-catching running back, a la Alvin Kamara. Now, he's not on that Kamara level yet, but if this keeps up, he will get there sooner rather than later. So this is the guy that if you had him on your squad, you were looking at him, and after week 1, you're like, oh, my gosh, he didn't even have me double-digit points. What am I going to do? and you calmed down, you took a breath, and you were like, okay, let me stick with my guy. So you see the payoff here, 59 rushing yards, got a rushing touchdown, got 84 yards receiving. He's being used in pretty much equally on both sides of the ball, which is awesome. Metcalf could have been a lot better because he had that ball. If you didn't see the play, he let up at the goal line, got the ball punched out, went out of the back of the end zone, wound up being a touchback. It was not a pretty sight, especially if you were in my house and you're watching this game with my wife. She had Metcalf, as you see, and to miss that touchdown was horrible. So still had the 110. They did count up against him as a fumble. So you add 2 plus the touchdown, you're looking at a 30-plus point production out of DK Metcalf, and even more from Russell Wilson. So, like, Russ needs help. But anyway, Hayden Hurst, 7 points is roughly what you're looking for an average tight end. But Hayden Hurst, if you drafted him, you were not thinking he was average. Allen Robinson, look, with Nick Foles coming in at the end of that game, and by the way, I'm going to take my victory lap. Matt Nagy has named Nick Foles starting week 4. Week 4 starter predicted right here, guys. Come on. You got to give me one because I'm not making my Redskin, my Washington prediction come true with them going 11-5. I know. It was a pie in the sky type dream. So, and my Cam Akers due to injury, that prediction of rookie of the year. I'm holding out hope that he makes it back, that he has an awesome season. So, Steelers, 7 points against Houston. They did their best. They 6 sacks and an interception, and you see across there that Mr. Dalton was absolutely horrible, with the exception of Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp. They had an awesome week. But if you look down here, and you're going to see, because I get to play Dalton this week, that he has made adjustments. He has started Keenan Allen. He has started Deshaun Watson. And if I'm not mistaken, he does have Darrell Henderson in his lineup. So if he had that, he would have at least made it a little more interesting, but I still think he would have lost ultimately. So, bad beat of the week right here from Mr. Nick. The reason I say this is a bad beat, and Nick, once again, earns my dunce of the week, because anybody who can, check this out, right here, Julio Jones in the lineup for Luke, and he did not lose. He won his game. How the world did this happen? Let's take a look real quick, okay? We see Hollywood Brown, awful week. Mark Andrews, awful week. Odell Beckham, guys, I've said it time and time again. Please get rid of Odell if you're carrying him on your roster. Find somebody who believes in him that you can trade for, okay? Justin Tucker, not that good. And the Chiefs' defense, simply because they allowed the Ravens to score 20 points. They only had 7. And we see the top part of his lineup, not too bad. Golf, Connor, James Conner, and Nick Chubb all having 25-plus point performances. Then Adam Thielen just got lost in the shuffle with Justin Jefferson, and that will happen. But coming down here, McCole Hardman, His boy Joe Burrow had a decent game. Emmanuel Sanders actually showed up with a touchdown, but this is just, I don't even know why he's still rostering Bell. That needs to be a drop. I can't remember if that's Duke Johnson or David Johnson on his squad. But as it stands right now, the COVID-19ers are in quarantine from a win. So we'll see, hopefully, from my perspective, that will continue into week 4. So Dalton, I hope that you get a win in week 5. Let's see real quick. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong guy. Mr. Nick. But yes, Dalton, I do hope that you get a win in week 5, and the D Johnson is in fact Duke Johnson. Yes. Okay. Wanted to make sure, because I have 2 different leagues and I have David Johnson in one of them. So CEH showed up, 64 rushing yards, 70 receiving yards. That's basically his floor. Okay, when we talk about a floor and a ceiling for a player, your ceiling performance, you have a breakout game, which Justin Jefferson just did. You have a ceiling performance. Your average performance right now for guys like Mahomes and Russell Wilson is something that they're not going to sustain throughout the season. So don't look for those 40-point performances week in and week out. You're going to get them here and there. When these defenses get a little more film and they're able to study them a little closer, you're going to get that. But like I said, we're early in the season. There's a lot of football to be played. Look around your league. If you're hurting at a position, you can guarantee that someone else is hurting in another. So you probably have someone that can be useful for another team that they're just useless on your team. And these are things like I had DJ Shark. I didn't need any more wide receivers, but I was hurting at running back. So I pulled a trade with Luke. He got DJ Shark. If you look down here, he wasn't able to play this week. But he's rostering Todd Gurley, Chris Thompson, McKinnon, and CEH. So he was good on running back, so I was able to snag Joe Mixon away from him. The Tyler Lockett, having him there, that's actually not – that's having a really good, solid wide receiver. But he needed help at receiver. He's got Brandon Ayuk, but as I said before, Ayuk is probably – got one more good week in him, and then Debo comes back. So, Luke, if you see this, you still have a spot available, so you can go pick somebody up, whoever you need, off the waiver wire without having to drop someone. Okay, so let's go into week 4. Let's check out the matchups. And let's see. I'll call right now my matchup of the week. And I'll tell you what, let's go to the league and we'll see how the rankings go right here. So we've got Hunter with the Cajun Pudos at number 1, Slutty Mutts and Mr. Charles at number 2. My boy, you know him, you love him, D-Money with Danny's RBU. He's calling himself that because he's got Zeke. So, returning champ, the missus, she is sitting at 2-1. And that's on the back of points scored for her. She's got 422, and Slutty Mutts has 492. Now remember, these guys who are scoring all these points, they're relying on a couple of players who've had really good performances. Once the bye weeks start, that's when things get real, okay? If I'm not mistaken, bye weeks start week 5. So we've got this week and then one more week, and then all hell breaks loose. Chris was C's Cowboys. And then myself rounding out the top 6, which would be where the playoffs cut off. Then we have Mr. Dusty from the Fighting Infernix with Keller's Bakery. So once again, thank you for the sponsorship. Appreciate you. New Car Smell and Mr. Nick down at 1 and 2. Alpha Chads getting their first win this week with Mr. Luke. And the COVID-19ers still in winning quarantine. So they have been quarantined away from a win for the first 3 weeks. And once again, I'm hoping that they stay that way at least for one more week. Because I don't think I could take losing to Dalton. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make Chris and Mandy our matchup of the week. Number 4 versus number 5. So we see Rodgers on Monday night gets Atlanta. That's going to be an ugly matchup for Atlanta. Melvin Gordon. Now, here's the thing about Melvin Gordon on Thursday night. It is rumored that Philip Lindsay could come back. So if you are a Gordon owner like my boy Chris, that's bad news for you. It's also bad news that Josh Jacobs is going up against Buffalo. Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and Greg Zuerlein are all facing Cleveland for him. Look, with the way that they're spreading the ball around and the way that Amari Cooper has been disappearing in games, that would greatly concern me. We see that Antonio Gibson against Baltimore. I don't know if Chris has set his lineup, but I'm really not loving that from a running back perspective because he's got just way too much that can go wrong here. I also just don't see Antonio Gibson getting almost 13 points. The Cardinals going up against Carolina. That could be ugly as well from a defensive standpoint. Check out his bench. He's carrying Dion Lewis with the signing of Devontae Freeman. That does not bode well. We see that he's got Drew Brees on his bench, as he should. And look, if you are in a league and you're carrying Drew Brees and you have another quarterback, if there is someone that you can give him away to and get something in return for him, by all means do so. Okay. I don't know what's going on with Drew Brees and with the way that that he's not performing up to the Drew Brees standard This is not what you drafted. This is not what you were expecting. So if you can trade him away, trade him away. If you want to hold on to him until Michael Thomas gets back, fine. I can't blame you for that one. This also could be a buy low on Drew Brees without Michael Thomas, and you might be able to get a good quarterback away from someone if you can go in and lowball them. Cole Beasley, I'm not big on Cole Beasley. He's too hit and miss. Jamison Crowder, he's dinged up. Corey Davis, I like Corey Davis. I don't like him against Pittsburgh, but as long as A.J. Brown is out, that's your man. George Kittle, you're definitely holding on to him. If he can come back, he will. They lost Jordan Reed. He is on IR, so he's gone for at least the next 3 weeks, if not more. Swift, I want no part of the Detroit backfield. You see Christian McCaffrey, Courtland Sutton, and Deebo Samuel. Look, he's holding on to Deebo, and I can't blame him for it. Sutton, look, with the quarterback situation right now, Sutton might be a guy that you could honestly move if you can find a trade partner for him. So let's go up here and break down returning champs. We've already been over Mahomes. You know he's a solid. Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler. Gets Houston and Tampa Bay. Houston, he should be able to run over Eckler with Tampa Bay. I don't see too much problem there. Robinson and the Colts, that's going to be an interesting matchup. The Colts looked extremely good last week, but it was against the Jets. Let's see how they do against Nick Foles-led Bears. Hayden Hurst against Green Bay on Monday night. That's going to be a game script where they're going to be behind, and if Julio is out again, Russell Gage is already dinged up, so that's if he doesn't get a chance to play. If Gage and Julio both, neither one play, Hayden Hurst is a definite smash play for this week. Mike Davis breaks into the lineup against Arizona. We're trying to wait and see how that works out. You see Blankenship there, kicker for Indy. If I'm not mistaken, he is the number 3 ranked kicker right now in fantasy. And then the Steelers against Tennessee. You know, I think the Steelers have the manpower with TJ Watt, JJ's younger brother, coming in to stop Derrick Henry, limit that team. And again, with no A.J. Brown, their options are limited. So Matt Ryan, we see, is definitely on the bench. T.Y. Hilton, this isn't somebody that you can start with any kind of confidence, but if you have him and you need a filler for your wide receiver spot, he is good. You got Paris Campbell, who is out, and Mo Alley-Cox, the tight end there, is getting a lot of work. Darren Waller going up against Buffalo. I don't like the matchup. She's got Hayden Hurst on Monday night. That's a much better matchup. And remember, we talk about environmental roster management. So that is something that is definitely in play here. We see Robbie Anderson going up against Arizona on the bench. And that's basically just lack of options or a lack of opportunity here, because you're not going to bench Metcalf. You're not going to bench Robinson for somebody like Robbie Anderson. Chris Godwin, doubtful. He's probably out at least a week. Concussion protocol. It's hamstring this week. Last week it was concussion protocol. Zach Moss is dinged up, as well as Cam Akers. Now, these are guys that if you are able to hold them They might be something later down the line once they get healthy. It's still early in the season and might be too early to tell on some guys, okay? So that is going to be the matchup of the week. We will review this matchup on Tuesday because we've got both players who have somebody in Monday night's game. So it might come down to Rodgers versus Hurts for Monday Night Football. Okay. Now, also these rosters are scheduled to change simply because it is only Wednesday. So if you guys are watching this, remember it can change. But I like both of those lineups so far. There we go. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for this episode of Fantasy Football Academy 2020. Pez, thank you for the comments, my brother. I appreciate it. And look, guys, if you're out there and you need help with your fantasy lineup, don't hesitate. Hit me up down in the comment section. Leave your comment. You can ask Pez. I answer same day, depending upon my schedule. I will answer the same day. It might be a couple hours here or there, but I do get back to you, and I can do my best to help you out with your fantasy lineup. If you need a little more immediate help, hit me up on Twitter at FantasyDean20, and we will see you guys next week. Remember, sit your lineups, and if you need help, come to the Dean's office. All right, guys. You take care of each other, and we will see you next time on Fantasy Football Academy 2020.